5 years ago, Ron Baker injured his back, ending his career as a building contractor in Boston. With no insurance, little savings, and no income, he lost his home through foreclosure. In spite of his bad credit, Ron got a loan to start a new business inspecting buildings, a company he's run now for 3 years. Maureen Bartlett moved to Gardner, Massachusetts in 1991, when the unemployment rate there was at a record high 17%. Recently divorced and with no credit history, she got a loan to start Competitive Edge, a graphics design company, now in its 5th year.
I had to start from scratch, and I didn't want to be borrowing from family. You know, my family helped me out quite a bit at the beginning because I came here with nothing. But working capital allowed me the opportunity to get credit.
They are known as micro-entrepreneurs, people who operate small family enterprises outside the business and banking mainstream. Many of them have benefited from an inventive lending program called Working Capital, which extends small amounts of credit to low-income entrepreneurs who would not qualify for conventional financing. The money is used to buy sewing machines, skill saws, and computers, tools to help small startups grow.
In this country, there's probably 15 million self-employed people. Only about 10% of these have access to credit, and even fewer have access to training, technical assistance, and the like. We're trying to target our assistance to low-income communities, both in urban and rural areas, with the idea that if enough of these tiny businesses get moving, they generate jobs and really help rebuild the economies of hard-hit areas from the grassroots up.
Here's how it works. 5 or 6 micro-entrepreneurs in a community get together to form a loan group. Together, they decide which group members could benefit from a loan and afford to repay it. Working Capital borrows money from commercial banks, which they relend to the small businesses, based solely on the group's recommendation. If an individual defaults on a loan, the entire group is responsible. Their decision-making prowess exceeds that of traditional banks. With nearly $2.5 million loaned so far, 98% of the loans have been repaid in full with interest, a record any credit analyst would applaud.
We've been able to give out almost 2,500 loans. We've written off only 2% of the loan portfolio and have not made a single credit check or have taken any collateral for this. So the decision-making process in the groups is just that good.
Working Capital's lending program turns the traditional banking system on its head by turning neighbors into lenders and putting its trust in small-time entrepreneurs. Loan group members network with each other and receive technical assistance from Working Capital. Access to money is what often draws the mom-and-pop shop owners in, but it's the group's support, they say, which keeps them involved. Strictly Business is a loan group in New Bedford, whose members include a furniture maker, a coffee shop owner, and a jeweler. Naya Barros Delgado is a seamstress and president of the group.
I had never been in business, so to be in a small group, in a supportive group that has people who do business and have been in business, who could teach me, and the support system, the group concept of Working Capital works real well because you have to have a group and you're responsible not only for yourself, but you're responsible for everybody else, and everybody else is responsible for you.
Working Capital aims to help people rebuild their communities by giving them the proverbial hand up, not the hand out. Money is loaned at commercial rates and must be repaid on time. Group members start with a $500 loan. Once repaid, they qualify for twice that amount and eventually can borrow up to $5,000 for their business. It may not seem like a lot of money, but even $500 can make a difference for small, struggling entrepreneurs.
It's quite a bit of impact to those who it does reach. And our basic idea is that if you get a critical mass of hundreds of these businesses together in an area, all interacting, networking together, the whole capacity of the local economy to address local economic needs and even export their goods and services outside is increased.
Craig Mott barely eked out a living as a lobsterman along the coast of Maine. When his boat sank, he called it quits and used the boat's parts to start a marine salvage business. His first Working Capital loan helped fix his truck and buy additional inventory.
I went way in debt to get a boat and a few traps. but I never was able to make enough money to really build it. I opened up full-time March 1st. It's a bit of a struggle, but so far, knock on wood, almost every week I made a week's pay out of it. Well, enough to get by. I'm not getting rich at it, but again, I enjoy doing it. I hope in the future to have a little bit bigger place, have a machine shop or a repair shop, and be able to do it year-round.
The way I really feel about working capital is that it has really allowed me the opportunity to take part in what has been the American dream. You know, that a person who really doesn't have any money but who has a lot of drive and determination can actually become successful.
While micro-lending is relatively new in America, small group-based loans have been helping entrepreneurs in poor communities throughout the world for years. One of the oldest and largest micro-lenders is Somerville-based Accion International. In the last 10 years, Accion has provided nearly $1 billion in loans to small mom-and-pop businesses throughout Latin America. Michael Chu is the organization's president and CEO.
Accion is trying to really reduce poverty by making it possible for the people that don't have a job in the formal sector and need to start enterprises of their own, have the kind of financial muscle so that they can really grow. Most have to pay the huge interest rates of the local loan shark in order to operate. And we're trying to become a commercial alternative for the millions of people that are engaged in microenterprise.
In the 1980s, as a partner in a large Wall Street firm, Michael Chu helped arrange the leverage buyout of RJR Nabisco. Now, at age 48, he needs a whole year to earn what he typically made in a week on Wall Street. As much social activist as financier, Chu's goal is to channel some of the billions of investment dollars flowing into emerging markets to the poor through microloans.
Microfinance is a wonderful key to allow the economic initiative to flourish. I think I've been very fortunate in my life. I've been at the right time, at the right place. But I think joining the staff of Accion full-time is really goes back to when I left college. I was class of 1968, and many of us who left at that time thought that we should contribute a grain of sand to changing the world.
Although each business may be small, when taken together, micro-enterprises form a tidal wave of economic activity worldwide. In Latin America, there are more than 50 million such businesses, supporting more than 150 million workers. The average initial loan from Accion is $100, not much by American standards, but a potential lifesaver for a struggling market vendor on the streets of La Paz. The money has helped bricklayers, popsicle purveyors, and shoemakers participate in the economic life of their countries.
If you can think of a man in the front part of his shack building furniture with one handsaw and a hammer and nails, and you think of $100 bringing in an electric saw, the enormous amount of productivity that unleashes is a clear example of the power of a little bit of capital in an environment that is absolutely starved for it.
When Enteria Saldana got laid off from his factory job in Lima, Peru, he and his wife Isabel began selling fruit to survive. After years of struggling, they now earn money from their market stand to support themselves and their 2 children. Without loans from Accion, they doubt their business would have made it.
Before Accion, we had to take loans from a lady around here, and her interest rates were very high. We ended up working for her. Now that we have found Accion, the rates are very low and we can make a business.
The Accion network includes 2 banks and affiliates in 14 countries. Loans are given at market rates, a practice that was once criticized as being too hard for the poor. But advocates pointed out that to survive for the long haul, the nonprofit organization must make money. Money it can use for more loans.
If what we do is important, then it's got to be permanent. The only way to be permanent is if you can generate enough income to cover your costs. Because if not, you'll be dependent on somebody's charity or somebody's priority. If those millions of dreams are worth supporting, you can't allow it to depend on something as fickle as charity or somebody's priority.
Giving people access to capital is the key, and Accion provides it at a rate far cheaper than the local loan shark.
When people are poor, they lack everything. A microfinance provides access to capital and can allow their businesses to grow. It can't be a solution to everything, but we are the solution to the self-initiative of the poor to flourish.
Nelson Abreu started ACA Employment Services in New Bedford after joining a working capital loan group. Within 6 months, he hired his first full-time employee and has started 2 additional companies since. His business has expanded so rapidly that within 2 years he graduated from the working capital program and now qualifies for loans from a commercial bank.
First loan I took was a $500 loan, and I used it to make brochures for my business. The second loan I went was a $1,000 loan that I took. I bought a computer for the business here in the office, and we used it for almost 3 years. I think that if it was not for working capital, I probably would not be in business today. I probably would have been working for somebody else because of the fact that $500 loan, the bank would probably not lend you $500.
Commercial banks are showing interest in micro-lending. Some are becoming directly involved in the process. Cambridge Savings Bank matches any loan approved by a working capital loan group in their community. No questions asked.
They're receiving a small business loan, which they will receive credit for. And a lot of times individuals who are starting in their businesses, they do not have prior credit. They do not have, if they do have prior credit, it may be prior delinquent credit. And it's a catch-22. You need credit to obtain credit. So this loan pool enables these individuals to start or restart.
Micro-lending has been embraced by conservatives and liberals alike as a way to nurture homegrown businesses, create jobs, and improve neighborhoods. As the nation debates the merits of welfare reform, micro-enterprise lending is seen by many as a way to foster initiative, helping people in poorer communities help themselves.
What microenterprise lending does, and it's no panacea, there is no panacea for poverty, but it offers a vehicle, a mechanism, an efficient vehicle through which people can invest in their own future, hire a neighbor, a friend, a family member to pursue their own dream and to take on the independence and the responsibility of their own small business. That, I was led to believe, is part of the American dream.
2 years ago, machinist Mark Pereira was laid off from his factory job just a few days before Christmas. He decided to pursue his longtime dream of running a fast food takeout restaurant. With the help of some working capital loans and support from his loan group, he managed to get the business going, but it hasn't been easy. He's had to take on another job to keep his business afloat.
It is a struggle. It's something that you have to work hard for. When you start off on a new venture like this, you want to open it up and make $1 million right away. But guess what? That doesn't happen. So what I'm trying to do right now is I am working full-time to try to keep the cash flow coming in, have a steady income coming in until this business will be able to be sufficient.
Every business starts this way. Every dreamer needs someone to believe in them. What a commercial bank can't do is listen to that dream. We don't have time to get to know the individual when the amount is this small, when there is no collateral, when there's no track record, when there's no cash flow, when there are no customers. Someone has to believe. Accion and working capital believe. And that $200 loan, which then may translate into a $500 renewal, and then a $2,000 revolving loan translates into a thriving, going concern, which means self-sufficiency, it means pride and integrity, it means co-workers, and it means equity and ownership and an interest in the future.